Hello, Cosmic Explorers, and welcome to another edition of Cosmic Insights, where we dive into the mind's light. I am your co-creator, host Hillis Pugh, along with
Rebecka, Gregory here. Thank you so much, you Cosmic Explorers, for joining us for another episode of Cosmic Insight. And tonight we have a very special guest with us, all the way from France. And who is that, Hillis?
So today, one of our newly recruited brothers, well, brothers to us, we have our friend Darius with us here this afternoon, evening, day, night moment. And after graduating a medical doctor in 1994 from the University of Heidelberg in Germany, Darius moved off to London to where he practiced oncology for almost 20 years, with 6 of those he was in the corporate field, and being on the search for a powerful healing modality, because we all want the very best healing that the world could offer. He was guided in 2002 to qualify as a Light Body Integration Practitioner, and he developed his own method of healing. And Darius's mission is to empower clients to guide them on their own spiritual path, to guide them towards their truth, the essence of being a multidimensional beings, and to help them manifest heaven on earth. He effectively supports his clients' ascension, which process, which he which you process and which we as humanity collective undergo at this time on the planet. So yes, my brother, my new brother, friend, Darius, welcome to the show. And forgive me for butchering the bio a little bit. Sorry about
Perfect.
that.
Thank you much, Rebecka, and thank you very much, Hillis, for having me here. A great honor for me.
Oh my gosh, Darius, we are so excited to have you here. And, thank you for joining us all the way from France, which I think it's so fun when we have international guests on our show and just, connecting those connections together. So tell us a little about yourself and how you kind of got into this world and, in moving into for being a doctor to this multi-dimensional just energy worker or extravaganza.
Oh, it's very easy. I have no clue. No. So it was like when I was a student, I started to be interested already in alternative healing, and but then once you start working as a doctor, you work nonstop, work weekends, so there was no really time for me to embark on a spiritual path. And at some point, I mean, my life was comfortable, enough money, no problems, self-good and stuff like this. I was guided to go to a course, and I did that. And this is when I started to open up to multidimensionality. So I've been playing around a little bit with crystals and stuff like this. But being a doctor, I was interested in healing modalities that are at least on the same level as conventional medicine, right? Mm-hmm. And so I discovered that, and when I didn't ask if they do a practitioner course, they did. You have specific abilities. I thought, well, it's certainly not me. Then I had some abilities that were required. And when I underwent the practitioner course, it was reconnecting with the abilities that we had before already in other incarnations as light workers. And it was really that my universe was expanding to a degree that I didn't know. Am I dreaming, or is it true? What is happening, right? And for many years, it was for me, I was practicing as a healer, a light worker, integrator, the evenings or the weekends, and I had during working hours my medical job. And over the course of the years, I managed to combine this in a way. It wasn't a battle spirituality against conventional medicine or conventional science, and which probably makes sense now too. Everything comes from the source, right? Mm-hmm. And at some point, I was told by spirit, I have to make a decision. I cannot dabble in both aspects of reality anymore. It was clear which one to take. Mm-hmm. And through a chain of circumstances, the spirit made it very easy for me to embark on this path. And since then, it allowed me also to step really out and make myself visible. Before that, it was a little bit difficult with a 3D job that I had because of conflict of interest. And yeah, so this was 6 years ago, and I'm very happy, feel very honored and blessed to be on this path.
Oh, how
Thank
beautiful.
you for sharing that story.
Oh, I was just going to say, so do you find with the work that you do now that having that background of the medical field of being a doctor really assists you when you get down working with different clients now to have that knowledge behind you in that, I would say, like 3D world of how the medicine is now into this multidimensional world of working with the energetic bodies in that where it starts from the outer to the inner disease or whatever that might come into the body?
Yeah, I think actually there's a lot of benefits on several levels, depending on what perspective we have. I mean, one is that it's not for me a battle what some people have. I don't have to prove myself against scientific world or against medical thing because I'm both in this way, right? I have so there's not this battle within me. Then also the work what I'm doing is it is both very it's multidimensional, the same as very analytical, the same way. So I can combine, like the same as right and left hemispheres. I combine that, and I use my medical knowledge in order to really address specific things, amongst other perspective, also from the 3D perspective, from a medical perspective. That allows me to, if I deal with things which are very, with diseases, it allows me to be very focused on specific areas and thus increase the effect that it can have on a client, right? Yeah. So I use these things, but also, as I said, I access my multidimensionality. I work from different angles.
Oh, that's beautiful. And do you find, working from that point of view, and I totally lost my train of thought. I was gonna say, it's just, certain aspects of the physical that you find, I guess what I'm trying to get at, it actually stems from the other dimensions that has come down into our body, but we come so anchored in the physical that people lose sight of the other aspects of healing.
Yeah, I think it is multidimensional, and you can see the specific disease from different levels. Let's say one type of cancer, let's say prostate cancer, right? You can see on the 3D level, this is a gene abnormality that creates the cancer. You can go to the emotional level and say whatever there may be some stress or sadness located in. It can be a mental on the body. There can be an imprint. I'm not worth to be alive, or I deserve to be ill. I deserve to die. It might be you can go to the spiritual. It can go back to past lives. Things happen then would now manifest in the specific disease, right? So there are different angles, and each perspective is a truth on its own, right? And by going into all different dimensions, I think we can get a greater. We can never have complete truth. At least I don't claim that for myself, but I can bring in several different perspectives, what can help to magnify the efficacy of the work.
Oh, beautiful.
I love that. Yeah. So, Darius, what it sounds like to me, what you do is that as a light body practitioner, one who is connected to this energy, that you also work to find the root cause of said disease, illness, or what have you on a very multidimensional level. Would you say that's about accurate what you do? And if so, what's your approach to getting to the root cause of that?
So I think just if we see our souls or our beingness, we're all expression of the divine. So in this way, we have divine qualities in us, divine abundance, divine health, and so on, divine happiness. So this is actually our natural state, right? To have that, not let's say being ill or being sad or anything like this. It's an experience we agreed to manifest. In order to have a specific experience here in 3D, because we're here in 3D in order to learn through the polarity would exist here, right? So we have learning experiences that we don't have in the high dimensions, right? So this is the first thing. Looking at that actually it's not like we have to really dig through thousands of things in order to get there. It's actually, we just have to allow that or understand that actually it's in theory, and actually in practice too, it can be very easy to go to the higher levels, right? So what happens is when I work with someone, we talk, I take a history as a doctor, but also I have to take other information, how they feel, what is their intent, and so on. And in the time already, I receive information on what should be addressed, right? So what is an experience that the person has in 3D, what we can replace with one which is high dimensional, fifth dimensional or higher, right? For example, for a lot of things, for a lot of situation where someone experiences let's say a chronic disease, so the healing mechanism within that person is not working on a level it can, right? But even like this is perfect, but we can say in that moment that the person has an agreement, soul agreement, to be disconnected from the ability to heal herself or himself, or refusing to heal in order to have a specific experience, right? And then we can replace that with a high dimensional agreement instead. I'm fully connected to my ability to heal myself, and now I heal myself completely, right? So this is just one very small fracture. There's many more things going on, but it also I get information if necessary, if any past life is involved. So if a trauma from the past could not be healed previously, and the imprint still creates symptoms or diseases in this incarnation, right? Or experiences, right? So it is very multidimensional. It happens on all levels. It's quite interesting also to see when I'm doing that.
So it sounds like you work with a lot of quantum entanglements from different levels and different lifetimes and different experiences from one's soul's journey.
That's one way to call it. Yeah. So it's very, it's a lot of different things, but it also makes it very exciting to work. It's not just like whatever, each day it's the same thing. Even people who come in with the same challenge, whether it's black magic or whatever, disease or whatever, right, or abundance issues, each one is unique in the experience that brought the soul to that current now moment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You find working, I'm always curious on working in the energetic, in the physical body and moving out. I kind of believe it's I know for myself, working through stuff, I always start out here in the different levels and work down to the physical part of me, instead of back. Do you find, which way do you work? Do you work from or you kind of work together? I don't know. This is just a curious point, because I know for myself, I'm always okay, let's look way out here, on the fifth plane or whatever dimension up, and then I chunk myself down to the physical part of me. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say here. But,
I understand. I think I understand very well. So I can
starting out and working in, or starting in and working out.
Yeah. I think there's not. Yeah, I think there's not only one right way or the best way. There are different ways, and they all have their existence, and they're all valid, right? So for me, it is my work is very multidimensional. Also, ultimately, I help people to access and express their multidimensionality. So it's like I'm in 3D, I'm in 4D, I'm in 5D, 6D, 7D, and so on. Right, and this is actually, I prepare myself before the session so that I really embrace my multidimensionality. I think probably from a divine perspective, even the separation into different dimensions is just an illusion that we humans create in order to try to make sense out of that. So that's perfect, right? But anyway, so I tap into the multidimensionality, and so I can get different information, whether it's from a high dimensional thing or pretty much 3D or second dimensional, would help me to deal with a specific process. And as I said, for some people, it's important for me to receive information regarding specific past lives they had for the healing process. For others, is not of interest, not of interest for me at all, and I don't receive that information. Right, so it can happen all different ways, all the same time.
I was just curious, because that's how I look at things personally myself. So I was just asking a question. What do you got there, Hillis?
Oh no, I'm just in here thinking because being one who does the same work as you, Darius, but in a different way, it just has me thinking of the way we see energy, the way we connect people is far different from what others may perceive. And so in your daily life, when you're working with people, when you're not working with clients, how do you see the energy in the day? How do you see the energy of your clients? How do you see the energy of your peers? How do you, so it's like, being the person that do what you do, how do you really incorporate or see or feel that energy as it comes to you?
So I think maybe like I can, there are different aspects to that, and correct me if I misunderstood your question. But one thing is generally speaking, I see that the energy of, if I look at clients, because this is when I look more inside their energetic fields, I can see that especially over the last 1-2 years, the energy has been risen a lot, right? So things are speeding up, healing is getting more and more easy. Let's say it wasn't difficult before, but it feels a stronger connection is there, right? So this is what I see when I work with people. In my environment, we live at the moment very close to a national park, like just like 100 yards, 100 meters away from a national park. So a lot of nature here. I perceive the high dimensions often in a way that the colors are more shifted towards the spectrum what you have during sunset, more into warm hues of the colors, right? And this is what I see often, and there's a specific energy about that, and also the sharpness. If you look somewhere, it looks completely clear. Like normally when you look in 3D, it's if you look at something a little bit in distance, it's a little bit blurred. Whereas now when I see these things, it's completely sharp. The hues of the colors are very warm. Like in the movie, I don't know if you ever saw that, like water. Like Water for Chocolate, the Mexican movie. So there was, like, if I remember correctly, it was filmed in a very beautiful way. Everything was so delicious and luscious, and like Mexico.
Yeah.
And so this is the reality that I often perceive, right?
I love that. Yeah, and that is actually, a perfect way to answer that question, because, as we move into the higher frequencies of the energy that we are connecting to, we have to allow ourselves to see the broader spectrum of that in which we are connected with. The presence of the divine energy, the presence of this, the presence of all of that surrounds us. And so with us being able to perceive such depth in that, it's magical. It's magic. It makes our jobs a little bit easier.
Absolutely, yeah.
And are you fighting for yourself with these new energies and this new presence that's coming, in our field with the veil lifting, that your own sight and feeling and beingness is growing more and more, able to tap into more and see things? I just noticed for myself how the world is just so much more beautiful now, and the colors are changing. And I didn't know if you saw it, like within yourself, working in those dimensions, how things are shifting here for you in your world, coming into all this new stuff that's happening.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, if I look back in my life, so probably some of you can, or of the audience can resonate with it too. For a long time, I was the odd one, like a lot of us were the odd ones, so, and whatever, having an understanding of multidimensionality of the ascension process, and especially at the time when nobody or hardly anyone was talking about it, you were like the odd one, so you couldn't really be yourself without that people look weird at you, right? And finally, it's now, wow, we're right in the middle of the ascension process. That's what we're here for. It's almost like, thank God we're there, The waiting is over.
We're not the odd ducks anymore.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And it's also like I find suddenly that's I find suddenly there's so many people of whatever ascension is now a normal thing. You know, I see more and more people wake up, and I see really a lot of more and more powerful healers around. It's so amazing, you know, so to see that, you know, that we're growing and having more and more of a presence, and we also can express these things, you know, like social media. However, in whichever case we use them, we can use them to our advantage, you know, to really connect with and share our light and our knowledge.
Yes. And that, thank you for coming on the show and expressing who you are. I mean, Hillis and I do this show for this reason, to spread the message and spread the world and allow people to express what they're doing in the world, to help be part of that light, to spread the consciousness throughout the planet in this awakening and this ascension. So, and we all have to come together. Us odd ducklings got to come together. Have together to go.
Absolutely. I see that as well as part of that. Obviously, it's not only individual session. There's so much else going on in the work, right? But for us as light workers to create this net of light, you know, really to work together in order to do our part to support the ascension process, because it's after all our responsibility to this. At least that is what I'm seeing. You know, we as humans, we are the guardians. Our role as we're the guardians of 3D, of the third dimension, and we have to be responsible for our reality. You know, we have to graduate here in order to be able to go to the high dimensions. You know, so yes. And I think this is what you do as well by giving this platform of connecting with other people. It is paramount.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for that. And you know, that's I've never heard someone articulate it in that manner, to where you say that we are the guardians of 3D. So that's really a new perspective for me, to really look at it in that manner, because, you know, as we move through this energy from 3D to 4D, as we're in this transitional space, this transitional phase of understanding who we are and letting our guards down, letting the past go, letting this go, letting that go, allow ourselves to literally and figuratively become lighter, in a sense, to where we can remember who we are, to ascend in that space. And which actually kind of brings me to one of the things that we talked about before, was I know that you help clients who have been affected by, you know, dark energy or black magic, so to speak. So what is your encounter with that?
Oh, just maybe helpful to just give my explanation how we can see black magic, right? So like on the 3D level, I think we all can experience, we learn about power through the use and the integrity, to have integrity of using power by abusing our power or giving our power away. So someone abuses us. That can be things like you push someone in kindergarten, or whatever. Even if you vote, you give your power to decide for yourself to someone else, right? So this is on 3D. You can say black magic is actually a similar thing, just in the fourth dimension, right? So someone who knows about the mechanics of that and participates in the whole thing, you know, it can appear to those who are limited to 3D, which is the majority of people probably still. It can look really otherworldly and doesn't make any sense, can be very scary, right? Anyway, so this is like the thing. So for me to work with people with black magic, I have to bring my consciousness very much in the fifth dimension higher, so that I'm above that. I have to understand the mechanics of the thing. This is just one way to explain that. There are other ones as well, right? And then come without any kind of judgment to that. So when any kind of demonic beings comes up, everything is an expression of the divinity. Everything is just a learning experience. So there's no need to judge. From the fifth or high dimensional perspective, there's no separation into or polarity of good versus evil, right? So, but anyway, just to deal with that, it just to understand that, then, and if the frequency is high enough, then I can guide people to release black magic, or if they have, it comes in different levels. It can be like a small psychic attack as well, or can be like someone born in the satanic family. So, but it's just like more or less the process is the same. Obviously, there are big differences as well during the process, but it's really being above that and then really understanding the mechanics and using the abilities that I have or that other people have as well in order to create a new reality, right? Where there's like a use of claiming the power in all dimensions and using that power in the highest and best good, right?
Love it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And just for clarification, I understood everything that you said. But for those who are watching, just to be clear that sometimes, when we talk about dark or black magic, it's also can be considered in the sense of us personally giving our power away to someone else, whether, God, the deity, another entity, another being, to where we give them permission to do whatever acts on our behalf. And then they perform these acts, and then the energy is connected to us in some sort of way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is also for me. It's to empower people and no level to help people to really realize that we create our reality. If something is positive or we perceive it as positive or as negative, everything is just a learning experience. And if you want to have a different experience, let's say where power is used with integrity at all times, then we have to make a change. If we haven't achieved that yet, but I have to claim responsibility for everything in my life. This is a very empowering thing. It can be in 3D, the paradigm what we had for many incarnations is like if someone, robs me on the street, I'm the victim, the other one is the attacker. So this is a new paradigm. We have to see, actually, I choose, before I was incarnated, I choose to manifest this reality in order to learn something, and that's it. So the robber or the black magician who's doing something, casting a spell, is a teacher for me and helped me to grow. So it's just a different perspective to do, but it really comes back, I am responsible, no one is to blame. I'm here to learn, and even with negative situation, what I perceive as negative, I can learn even more than that. But I decide if I want to continue with a given reality or whether I want to change that to something higher. I go for the high once. It's more fun these days.
Yes. As you both were talking, it was funny. Yeah, I just the impression that was coming to me about black magic is basically the 3D world we've been living in. Black magic.
Say it again. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
That in the 3D world that we've been experiencing as a collective humanity for so many years, we've been living in the world of black magic.
Yeah, I think
now we're moving out of that black magic, playing the victim or playing this role, playing all the roles we've played in that vibrational level, the 3D, and now moving up to this new fun playground that we're moving into. So it's
absolutely.
Anyway, that's just.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's actually very important as well. And also then combined with the thing, we are the guardians of 3D. So what we see very much with us coming now, I think more in the mainstream media, for example, that in some countries, indigenous schools for the indigenous people, a lot of mass graves was discovered, right? A lot of these things actually go back about killing people for black magic rituals or whatever, right? If whenever you kill someone, this is actually can be seen as a ritual, right? Yes. By coming that, it allows us to transform that. We say, okay, I acknowledge what happened, but now I choose to have a different reality.
Yes. There's a lot of that coming out.
It is a lot of coming out. Also, what's happened now with all the energy, I mean, for, I don't know, more than 1 year that we blasted with high dimensional light, and the frequency of the planet is rising. So everything what has been hidden cannot be hidden anymore. So a lot of things come out, and more to come. So I think July this month, 2021, is a very pivotal month, like many actually, but this is a lot of stuff is coming out, and really, when I acknowledge which is there, then I can transform that. So it will be more and more difficult as well to look away in a different direction, because it is visible for easier and easier for everyone.
Oh yes, it's getting hot. It's like boiling over. The oil's coming up and about to boil out of the pot.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and I'm processing it at I guess, quantum level, if you will. And the thing that keeps coming up and coming back to is the energy of duality. Because, we have, black magic on one side, and then we have, the ethereal, the God presence on the other side. Doesn't matter, if you are religious or not, but both speak to giving your power away, giving it away to someone else, to something else, to be of service, to be of assistance. And I know that one of the things that you work with is, understanding black magic and the lower vibrating energies and entities. However, too, on the flip side of that, you have the benevolence, the that God energy. And so, being, raised Christian and, going to Catholic church and going to a Baptist church and all these things, it really speaks to my mind that, yes, my whole life, I've been giving parts of myself away. I've been giving myself, my thoughts, my prayers, my energies away to a higher being, and to really step into that and to that belief system. So I guess what I'm getting at here is the duality of that, in which of the existence of this, the quote unquote good versus evil, the bad and good of it all, is in a way what you do is, no matter what spectrum someone is on, you assist them in reclaiming and taking responsibility for their power, for their actions, for their energy, and bringing it back to them, no matter what they believe. Wouldn't you say, is that about close to what you do in the aspect of, your purpose now?
Yeah, so we can say certain things like karma, for example, if I'm stressed, if I'm angry at my parents, these are things, we can say these are experiences that pull our frequency down, that anchor us more in 3D. Right. So what I'm doing is an important part of my work, especially at the beginning in the first session, that we start to change these things in order to free the person up. The more we get rid of these things, stress, sadness, whatever, being disconnected from my ability to hear myself, the more we rise our frequency, and other things happen too, connecting with clairvoyance, clairaudience, whatever abilities we have that help us to experience and express ourselves on a high dimension. Our perspective gets high, and then we can start realize more and more that actually I am an expression of the divinity. As such, I have the ability to co-create together with the divine as part of that. And what am I going to do? How can I do that? And not only for myself, it's actually to be of service. Because also one thing as we go to 5D, we, besides unconditional love, Christ consciousness in this way, not related to any religion, but unconditional love, and also unity consciousness are very important energies there. So I understand you are a reflection of me, I'm a reflection of you. We are all connected. From that, it cannot be other than of being of service as we go to ascension. We cannot be a service to self person and think we can ascend, same as I cannot mistreat others and think I can ascend. I can go a certain specific level, but I cannot go beyond fourth dimension, right? So I think this is one thing. I understand we all are an expression of divinity. Everything is divinity. And this is not in a church or whatever other religious context, but really we're an expression, individualized expression of the divine God force. We are co-creators together with everything else, everyone else who is there. And it's an amazing journey we have. But now it's time for us to reconnect with the divinity, really to go higher and higher. And that can take different paths as well, So it can go from fifth dimension, or some people may go very quickly higher. Other people choose to still have experiences in 5D, or other may still continue having 3D experiences. What happens probably at the moment a lot as well on the planet, right? So, but it's an amazing journey. We have the chance at this time of accelerated ascension that we can, as a collective, as human, as a collective, ascend to the fifth dimension and then take whatever route we want to take. Yeah.
And from what I hear you saying, it's learning that we, as here on this experience, we need to learn to let go of the mindset of separation.
Yeah, so we can say it's we want to keep the experience, right? Because it helps if I give my power away, or if I abuse my power, I learn about using power with integrity, right? So I want to keep the memory, but now choose to express myself in a different way.
So I have a question for both of you that came up as you were talking, and it's kind of come up a couple of times, and it's just an interesting comment, bringing religion into spirituality. And it just kind of, because I watched you, Darius, like, why do we always have to explain ourselves? It's like, when are we going to let go of the connection if we're spiritual and stepping into the divine divinity of who we are, that it's not a religion? It is who we are. And I always find, I do this myself. It's always like we have to justify. Now this has nothing to do with religion. This is just, I always personally struggle with that, because people look at, anytime you talk about spirituality or coming into oneness or just growth within yourself, it's automatically connected to religion. Do you find that, or is it just?
It's just like I come from a not religious background, even though my parents come from whatever the group they belong to, very different. One is Christian, other one is Muslim, but none of them is practicing, right?
Got you.
I think if people will do that, it's fine. I don't have any problems with that. If anything, it makes me laugh. Right, I don't feel at this time anymore that I have to justify that. I had that before, actually, when I was working still in the hospital setting, and someone came across, that felt I have to explain what I'm doing in a way, and felt uncomfortable, But this is at this time it's fine actually for me. And I had actually recently a client, I just who never had really that much spiritual work. And I explained the work what I'm doing, and she told me afterwards that I was talking like this is just a normal thing, Yeah. So I think it's also what we make out of that, I think with that, so many people are multidimensional and expressing themselves on YouTube or wherever, right? It's fun. We can talk about that normally. If we don't have to feel we justify something. If someone calls it religion, fine. If this helps them to understand, great. If it is it for them the reason to judge it, it's fine as well. I don't care,
Yeah, I was just more saying how that connection of how many people think if it's spiritual, it's a religion. You know what I mean? That where we need to find that disconnection, because it's not. I guess that's what I was trying to say. It's
no, I understand that absolutely.
Not that part of it, but just that talking about duality and how we measure everything, the good and the bad and everything like that. Even that moves into that bubble.
Yeah. But I think for a lot of people, it's just whatever. If people go to mass in church and everyone is especially for Christmas, where the energy of people is very more in a loving way. This is probably for a lot of people where they can go into the direction of expressing multidimensionality by having this feeling, So, and from that, if this works for them, it's perfect. This is the way I see that.
Must be my own stuff. I was born Roman Catholic, and my mother, it's a whole thing. So,
hallelujah.
Anyway, thank you, Darius, for entertaining me. And Hillis, if you have anything to add on that,
yeah, well, I mean, you did ask.
Hillis is going to give us a mouthful now.
So don't you? You just know. It's interesting because one of the things that was coming to mind is that being going to Catholic school and going to a Catholic church, but not really Catholic, but being Baptist and then being Christian and being all these things. And so when you have something that you are rooted in, religion, what have you, your belief system, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to put the spirituality piece in that bucket, because it's like, oh, you're spiritual, you believe in God, you do this, and so it makes it a little bit easier. And there's also this space of not being judged as harshly. It's like, I believe in God, but I don't do this. Or I believe in God and I don't do that. I believe it. So it's like you're saying, picking out all these pieces. Like, well, how can you believe in God and not do any of those things? It's because it's my belief, it's my connection. And so when you have that connection, when you have these pieces of you and that are no longer pieces, but it's just you, then you kind of take the duality out of it, because It doesn't make sense to some people. So some people have to have that for it to make sense. And to be honest with you, I think that's what it just comes down to is just us wanting to make sense of what's there or what's not there.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, and that was just another thing. It's interesting because where I grew up in Germany, it's where people are the most people are either Catholic in the south or more Protestant in the northern part. And there's actually a benefit of being Catholic, because in the Protestant church, at least in Germany, like you have Holy Spirit, God, and the Son. It's everything more male-oriented. Whereas the Catholic, you still have the veneration of Mother Mary. So as they still exist, you still have angels, archangels that exist in Protestant church. You don't mention them. So even like the whatever was it called, transmutation of the wine into blood or something. Like in the Catholic Church, there's more of the spiritual aspect in that, where if I look at that, and obviously that's individual as well, but in the Protestant, at least where I grew up, it's almost like flat. There's very little spirituality in existence, actually. So you may be blessed.
We chose the right path.
Bring up interesting things to discuss. You never know what's going to pop up. So
yeah,
that's all about going down the rabbit hole and just watching what comes, right?
Yeah, I really like that you brought that up. But go ahead.
Oh, you talked about the other day when we had our delightful conversation about the Nephilim.
Yeah.
Nephilim. And what is that about? Because that kind of intrigued me a little bit.
Okay, so like there exist other worlds as well, different dimensions and different beings. Some people can see angels. Some people can feel connected to Syrian star beings or Pleiadian star beings, etc., etc. So, and I mentioned already that we as humans, we're the guardians of the third dimension. The Nephilim, or Anunnaki, is another name. They actually mentioned in a lot of historic books, like including in the Bible, you find that, or in the Torah, as well. Or different cultures, they have different names. And I think in the Christianity, it's like they're called giants. So they created they're fourth dimensional beings, and they're created. Humans, initially humans were created as a slave race for them. They're very good at genetically modifying organisms, and so they took their DNA, mixed it probably with something like Neanderthal, and out came the modern man, Cro-Magnon man, right? This is why you see suddenly from one level, you have like these societies with pyramids and stuff like that, right? So you have like jumps. It's not like a slow evolution of humanity. You have always like these stepping stones. So they created our physical body, right? And the first step, what I'm doing, besides taking the detailed history and changing agreements and stuff like that, it is also to bring the soul and the body consciousness into alignment. And let's say the Nephilim who created our body, they put like an aspect of them into our bodies, right? We call that the Nephilim soul. And this Nephilim aspect in most humans, like not everyone has it anymore. I'm free of that, thank God. So they actually were regulating our body consciousness, and on one side you have the body consciousness and that are managed by the Nephilim soul, and on the other side you have the soul of the individual soul of the person, and you can see that, and this helps us all to have a 3D experience, right? We can see that in certain things that if we don't respect our body very often, right? We don't exercise enough, we eat junk food, we don't spend a lot of time in nature. So this is also things, experiences that we have that help us to really be focused on 3D and have a full polarity experience, right? On the same time is like the body consciousness is helping us also to stay here. For example, in case someone starts to meditate and become too spiritual and pokes little holes into multidimensionality, they may pull us back. That can be what I, for example, experienced for a very long time, that when I was meditating, I suddenly started to sit in a very uncomfortable position. So that was something that was pulling me back, right? So all these things help us to really fully experience 3D, and really forget that there are other dimensions. So it's a very, very important thing. So the Nephilim, in the first part of the session, basically, it's that I'm bring the soul and the body conscious into alignment, and then the Nephilim soul stays back, and occupies still a lot of body of space. And later on, I take it out, and when it's taken out, the experience varies, but for example, when I had my Nephilim removed, I felt from one moment to the other, my energetic fields were just expanding. I had for several days a huge amount of DNA activation, these are things that sort of form part of the process when I'm doing,
Oh, that sounds amazing. How do you tell if you still have your Zen?
It's well.
I don't know, Becky. You have to have a session.
No, it's just like, unless you have whatever, it was like the intent to take it out, and do whatever is necessary. Then you would know if it's in, or let's say you would know if it's outside.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Rebecca's gonna go to bed tonight asking that question if that is in or out.
Never know with me.
No, not at all. And what's interesting about the work that you do, Darius, is that it's done on so many levels, and I can feel the compassion and passion for this energy that you do. And so what was the moment for you where you knew that what you're doing now was the right choice for you to do? Aside from the spirit messages and everything, but when did you know in your body, in your heart, that this was it?
It's when was it? Was a specific moment? I think there were like several very important things. One was when I embarked on the process, doing the practitioner course or the reconnection, when really the universes were expanding to me and the really new realities were opening up. That was one, and then also when I made the step from leaving conventional medicine behind. That I allowed myself to be visible, having a website, even if it's just a small one, right? But really giving the message to shine my light and to share that. And that was probably the other second big step for me, right? Yeah.
I love that. So it kind of just all fell into place, when we take that step and we allow ourselves to trust what we feel in our intuitive space, that, this is it.
And then the things also, it's basically we have to announce things to the universe, I'm ready, and that was happening even though I was very much pushed a little bit, right? And as a Taurus that I am, I have a lot of resistance. I don't want to move, so I need a little kick up my butt. So I was moving then with that kick, and and then other things start to follow in. But it's now I'm glad I did that. It's a great blessing, and everything else seems to me much, much easier, right? Obviously that's the challenges from time to time we all have. I still have a 3D body and the 3D experience for as long as that exists still, right? But it's something very rewarding, and I think also spiritual work, it should be, the more we advance, it should flow more easily, generally speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Not that we have to have bigger manuals and stuff like this. It should be, we just be, as opposed to being proactive the whole time in the 3D realm.
I love that.
But a manual would be nice, though.
Well, I have something, but a lot is in the head, and I see. But also, I see that the energies are flowing much faster, more easily, without that I almost have to open my mouth or something, right? So it's I noticed a great change, especially over the last year or so.
Yes, I've noticed that as well. It's just like boom, boom, boom now, and it's I'm finding, I don't know, you're finding with the clients that you're working with, and I love what you do as well. I'm going to go to that first, and then I'll go to the other thing I was about to say, in that, the healing that's happened up until this time, and for you to move into that, to that type of healing that you're doing now, the multidimensional, that it's just so prevalent right now in the world. I'm so honored to have you on here today to express what you do, because I think people get so stuck into, the conventional medicine, or Reiki, or just get stuck in the box of these healing modalities that are now expanded because we're expanded. So being that expansion of, I'm going to say, the future is so important right now for people to explore different options of healing and moving into the multi-facets and the multi-levels that we truly are and developing into. So I just want to thank you for that, for stepping in and listening to that voice and doing the work you do, because it's so important right now, for people to understand that that our levels changing, and that we need to open up to these different spaces and these different energies that are part of us now. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I know that both of you work very much multidimensional as well.
Not me. No.
You'd be surprised. I mean, another thing is also just coming in our divine essence. We're abundant, we're healthy, we're everything, right? Also, the nature of the divine is also to expand. We're unlimited. So from that point of view, it's not something where we stuck with the spiritual thing. Even the work what I'm doing, even if it's, some people may consider that powerful, maybe some people find it is humbug, which is fine too. But no matter that, whatever someone thinks about that, the work is expanding, right? It's really for us to really allow ourselves to bathe into that energy and really go beyond what we can even imagine. I think this is happening. I feel for a lot of us, this is happening at the moment. We're already in the path, and I can feel the excitement about what is to come, right? And it's beyond what we can imagine, actually. And this is all part of the expansion. So I'm not like, I do this healing modality for the rest of my life, and that's it, and have to keep my power to myself, not share my knowledge. No, I share, and just like expansion for all of us. And then it's really, we are connected, and the more of us choose to expand, the more it is for everyone to experience these energies too.
Oh yes, and the magic, man. I know there's so much going on in the world right now. Oh my gosh, the magic that is appearing is so just incredible if you take the time to be in it. I mean, every day, every moment, there's just amazing magic happening. I don't know if you see that. I do.
Oh, absolutely. Even like with the current situation where people have certain tests done, right? I don't want to say the word because otherwise maybe we're going to be blocked the video. So I see, even though it can sound very, there's no way out, we're all surrounded by the darkness, I see actually more and more people, I know about some people receive information how to deal with these things, right? So it's just it's really just we are really expressing our sovereignty. We have the chance to do that, but it's also to see if someone chooses not to do that, it's perfectly okay, right? I'm not here to save the world. I'm just here to what I choose is to hopefully create each moment a better version of myself, right? And in this way, this is all I can do. I can share my perspective, but it's up to everyone else to choose what they do with that or not do with that, and that's perfectly okay as well. After all, we're all expression of the divinity. Whether someone is in 3D and still experiences polarity with that, it's equally divine as someone who's already in 7D, right?
Yeah. And some people you just have to put to bed if they just, aren't. Just tuck them in and put them to bed because they want to be where they're going to be, and that is okay too.
It's absolutely fine.
It is. And Darius, we are almost out of time, my friend. And so, where can people find you to get to learn more about you and this fabulous work that you do?
So I have a small YouTube channel, Darius Meibodi. I'm the only one with a name. On Facebook you can find me, have a page there, or my website is www.dariusmeibodi.net.
Awesome. So everyone, go check out Darius. Go listen and watch all his amazing videos, and where you can get to learn more about him. And Darius, do you have any final thoughts for our audience today? Like, what would you, if like for them to take away with from you?
Okay, no matter what we hear in the news, so it's really exciting time. If we choose to experience this amazing time, but really see we are the creators of our reality. And whatever we choose, it's perfect. We cannot do anything wrong, even though we may think that, but everything is perfect as it is. Everything helps us to expand, but we have now the possibility really to embark on the high dimensional journey to really become sovereign and be co-creator together with the divine to manifest heaven on earth.
I love that. We are all one. Remember that, everybody.
Woo!
We are all connected in one way or another.
Oh, thank you so much, Darius. It's been beyond an honor to have you on today, and your knowledge and hearing your journey and the amazing, amazing work that you're doing. So I bow to you. I honor you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
It's a great honor. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you so much, Hillis.
Thank
Great
you,
honor and great
Darius.
blessing to you and to all of them on the audience.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you, everyone, for watching this week's episode of Cosmic Insight, where we dive into the mind's light and expand your mind. And be sure to tune in every week, Friday at 7 p.m., so you can watch our Cosmic Insight live shows where we do readings and energy tune-ups just for you. And until next time, everyone, have an amazing week.
Thanks, everyone. Keep on exploring you. Mwah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.